Hi, good morning, beautiful people, on an incredibly gorgeous Tuesday morning, November 14th. Could be the last time we're in the 60s until hopefully not May, but take advantage of it. Take advantage of the beautiful weather heading into Thanksgiving next week. Got some good stuff lined up for you this week. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to celebrate some folks. Okay, we're going to go through Cappers Awards. Lindsay has an exciting announcement that I think a lot of people have been asking for as it relates to the technology in command and managing your database effectively. Steph has some interesting insights as to some procuring cause cases that we've dealt with recently as to what you should pay attention to and be aware of. I'm going to challenge the group as a theme following last week around risk mitigation as it relates to compliance and expediting funds. It'll make more sense here in a second. And then I will finish with additional October insights that I knew I went through really, really fast last week around my theme of stabilization. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a deeper dive with some additional data that I've seen and also put some wind in your sails. And then I'm going to give you something to think about at the end. Sound good? Yeah. Beautiful. Love it. Here we go. Appreciate the energy this morning. All right, Missionvasion Values, Beliefs, and Perspectives. And last week, we kicked off a campaign with the United Way, and I challenged the group to say, to whom much is given, much is expected. Okay? This group is outperforming the industry trends in terms of gross commission incomes earned by over 30%. This group has done an incredible job in navigating where we are in 2023 and helping articulate your value proposition or value to your clients and helping deal with complex markets that seem to be ever changing. And for that, you've been rewarded handsomely. Handsomely is a relative and perspective term, right? But I believe that it's a direct reflection as to what it is that you guys do and how you've done it. So last week, we kicked off this theme of to whom much is given, much is expected, as we always try and give back in the fourth quarter to the community that has supported us in such a big way. And for the second year in a row, we've kicked off the United Way campaign. As of this morning, we're around $11,000 in donations raised. Shout out to those that have raised. And as I would challenge the group, as it relates to philanthropy and giving back, any dollar raised is a dollar more than what we had. Okay. Whether it's $20 or $2,000, $10 or $100, the quality in giving is in the quantity of giving. And what I mean by the quantity of giving is those who participate. And it's not the dollar in which you participate. It's the act of participating, right? And one of the things I've learned that in Southeastern Wisconsin in my philanthropic journey and efforts is that the community is supported by as many people as we can gather and garner interest in supporting the community. And the reason why in which that we choose to support the United Way campaign is the United Way campaign services over 75 nonprofit organizations in Southeastern Wisconsin. I can guarantee you they touch almost every single person in our organization has something that's meaningful to them, and the United Way touches them. The other thing that I very much appreciate as it relates to the United Way is the fact that their ratio, administrative ratio, so when you look at giving, you look at administrative ratios to say, okay, for every dollar I give them, how much goes towards causes that are meaningful to me? They have a 90-10 ratio, which is almost unheard of in the nonprofit world. 90 cents on every dollar earned goes directly to the cause. 10% is tied up in administrative costs. For perspective, industry standards or anything better than an 80-20 is a well-run organization. Anything worse than an 80-20 is not a very well-run organization in terms of being good stewards of dollars. And so as we look to close out the year in 2023 and to whom much is given, much is expected is very much kind of the theme as we head off into fourth quarter, and to be grateful for what it is that we've been given and what it is that we have to continue to be grateful for as we head into Thanksgiving. And this will culminate on December 1st, tied in with the holiday party. So for those that have donated, I thank you for those that have donated already and the $11,000 that are already raised. And we're well on our way to our goal of 20,000 plus. Cool. Awesome. With that, A few organizational and operational announcements, and I'm going to flip it over to Nikki Kunick because we've had a lot of questions as it relates to swag heading into the holidays or things. And so we have partnered with Just the Game Impressions out of the Wisconsin Dells area. And Nikki has been helpful in helping us set this up. So Nikki, I'm going to pass it over to you to help these guys understand if they want to place a swag order, what it is that they need to know.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the store is live today and will close on the 26th. My sister is the general manager of this company, and she wanted me to reiterate that it will close on the 26th. All orders have to be placed and cannot be processed and shipped until the store closes. So we have to have a close date of some sort. So this link, the store is linked here. It'll be linked when we have this sent out to all of you guys. This is the QR for the video in which she explains how to order a custom screen printed or embroidery option with your customized logo. You can choose a KW logo, or you can send her your own logo for your own company. This video, please watch it if you want to do a custom logo so that you know exactly how to do it. And then here's a QR for the store if you want to just click on that now. This will all be sent out with links for and an email follow-up, as well as in the team meeting slides when we send those out. So if you order by the 26th, it will be shipped to your house before Christmas. So if you're looking for any gifts or things like that, you should be good to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Nikki.
Yeah.
Guys, be on the lookout. We'll make sure that you get this information to you guys later on this week. Also, we've talked about this a little bit. The survey ends tomorrow as it relates to Energage. This is the top workplaces survey for the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Incredibly proud to say that we've been #1 the last 2 years in terms of top workplaces voted on by our peers and compared against our peer group. It's totally anonymous. We actually don't receive any of the feedback, but it helps me understand where we are in terms of a competitive set within the Milwaukee labor market, as to how you guys view the organization, what it is that we do well or don't do well. So I appreciate it. And I will say for the last couple of weeks, I've been really encouraging people to do the survey from the standpoint we had to hit a minimum threshold of 35% of our people responded, and we've hit the threshold. So I appreciate you guys doing that. And if you haven't, be on the lookout for one more reminder as this closes tomorrow. Cool. Reminder, buyer needs and seller upcoming seller listings is going out Friday and Monday in terms of collection. And then the report is sent out Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how long it takes us to clean it up. But make sure that you're just paying attention to this. And again, it may sound like I'm a broken record, and yet I also know I have to tell you something 100 times before it actually sticks, because I still get questions of where people are submitting. So stay tuned, and the information that is provided, or the information, the output of it is only as good as the information that's inputted. Next up, Willis is 5 and 5. This week is Gail Zeman, an incredible person. Learn about her history and teaching and what it is that she's done to give back within our community. So Gail's 5 and 5 episode, maybe 6 or 7 of season 2 with Willis, will be launching this week, I believe, Friday. So take a look at that. Cool. And then also, as a quick update for you guys, next week, we will host special edition of team meetings. Stay tuned. Special edition of team meetings. Stay tuned next week, Tuesday. I'm going to tell you, you'll have to be in the office in order to appreciate the full scope of what it is that we're planning for you. And then reminder, the offices will be closed next week, Thursday and Friday, in observance of the holiday period. Sound good? Please plan accordingly. All right. With that, we have a handful of people to celebrate who capped in the month of October. So let's get right into it. First up, this person transitioned over to us about roughly right around a year ago, has really plugged in, been very present. I love the way in which that she's dove into it and has had incredible success despite a tough industry. Christiane, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up is my kids affectionately call her as Lefa. Congrats to Aletha Champagne for capping in the month of October. Lefa is building a nice little team, a nice little business, doing the right things, plugging into her coaching, getting great advice. Lefa, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, this person's been with KW out in Lake Country almost since day one, was our original compliance broker, helping us build it from the ground up. Catherine Cario, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, this is voted on last year by her peers. 2022's everyone's bestie. Congrats to Catherine Eaglehoff on capping in the month of October. Now, next up, this is Julie Litkin. Julie Litkin, congrats on capping in the month of October. Incredible mom, always giving back. Really built in a nice business. Julie, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, out in Lake Country, been an incredible person in our community, really part of the fabric, always giving back. I think her entire family is incredibly invested in her business, which I love. It helps create balance, is always starting the jokes, hopefully. But also congrats to Mary Beth Milkey on capping in the month of October. All right, a few more folks. This person, incredibly interesting backstory. Okay, she came to us from a different organization first, but before that, she worked at Kohl's for a long time. Got into the business. You can tell has a very corporate business-like mindset. Has building a really nice team out in the Lake Country market. Leanne, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, over in the North Shore, someone who's steady Eddie, continues to do a nice job, does a really nice book of business under the JSG umbrella, has two great kids that I've gotten to know. Jackie Rubin, congrats on capping in the month of October. All right, a few more. Next up, this guy's got, if you want to learn about passive income and what it means to run rentals at a high level, as well as running a real estate business, Patrick Simonis is the guy you need to meet. Simonis, congrats on capping in the month of October. Three more. Next up, out in Lake Country, Katie Tesmer, I believe maybe within the first 5 agents out in Lake Country, has built a really nice business. Her and Nicole working together, building the Bark River Realty team. Katie, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, over in North Shore, another mom learning how to balance this business while being a young mom, has really seen tremendous gains since she's made the move. A part of the Fernwood Real Estate Group, Sierra Watson, congrats on capping in the month of October. Next up, last one. This person's having their best year. They're having their best year. And it's a testament to them being consistent and disciplined in their approach. Nicole, congrats on capping in the month of October. All right, so I'm going to jump right into October year-to-date results and awards because it'll make sense as to why I shifted this up to the front with the way in which that I plan to finish, okay? So here we go. Home Run Club. Again, Home Run Club, 1 listing taken, 1 contract written, 1 contract closed. It means you're getting paid this month, and it means you're going to get paid in the future. This is the group you want to be a part of, okay? Home Run Club is where it's at, because it means you are consistently doing the activities you need to in order to be successful in the fourth quarter. This is what I'm incredibly proud to tell you. This is the highest number of people we've had in the Home Run Club in the month of October in the last 8-9 years we've been doing this. This is also correlative to how and where I see the industry at right now through the month of October. Incredible group of people. Congrats on an incredible list for the month of October. Next up, $1 Million Month Club. Those that had $1 million month in the month of October. Here you go, a handful of people to call out. Bridget Ty, Becky Thomas, Kathy Shaw, Christiane, who we celebrated earlier, Connie, Demera, Doreen, Ginger, Ellen Pertel, Jackie Rubin, James Heffron, Joey Carini, Molitor, McLaren, John McLaren, good to see you on the list, brother. Carla Florence, Stephanie Minnick, Tammy Herpel, Ross Trevor, SJD, Sarah Jo Dietrich, Nancy Meeks, Nada, Molly Triggs, Lori Sroke, Kristen Stahulik, Katie Falk, Catherine Eaglehoff, and a host of others. Congrats on $1 Million Month Club in the month of October. Here we go. Highest percentage increase year to date for those on year to date. So this is those that are having the highest percentage increase in their business so far in 2023, this year versus last year through the month of October. Miller Marriott, Leah Bird, Matthew Conley, Mike Langenhall, Vershay Ward, Anna Pieper, Melissa Delzer, Rona Jones, Nathan, Paul Schmidt, Sheridan Stones, Peter Gossman, Ashley Meyer, Nicole Monteblano, Brian Pat, Jackie Reinisch-Knapp, Bethany Clark, Christiane Camera, Flanagan Group, and Pete Gossman Jr. Congrats on having an incredible 2023 and continue in your success. All right, GCI earned with agents on teams. Here you go. J9, Dan Wild, Martha Ola, Kathy Shaw, Katie Falk, Smin, Steph Miller, Kathleen Rosenheimer, Ginger Lazovic, Elena Zeman, Kirsten Linsner, Maggie Drain, Sue Nikolic, Will Stale, Nancy Meeks, Andrea Weichert, Ellen Pertel, Molly Triggs, Jonathan Newby, Sarah Jo Dietrich, rounded it out for top GCI earners on teams. Now, month of October, individual volume. Here we go. Molitor, Stahulik, Oberbrunner, Ty, Drummel, Bolton, Nada. I'm not going to even try Nada. I apologize. Becky, Melissa Bradley, Lori Sroke, Carla Florence, Christiane, Tammy Herpel, Joey Carini, Julie Licken, Ross, Connie Cummings, Nick Fetting, Jill Fink, Jeff Johns, rounding it out for the top 15 individual volume in the month of October. Year-to-date, individual units, Lori Sroke leading the way, 82 units. The power of compounding interest, okay? The power, I'll give you a little, guys, a couple weeks ago, we had a conversation around listings. And Lori, we interviewed Lori about where she found her listings this year. If you want to go check it out, here's a plug for the YouTube channel. It was a great conversation to learn how to compound what it is that you've done, because the majority of these units are listing units. Congrats to Lori. There's the rest of the top 15 for individual unit or individual year-to-date units. Next up, individual year-to-date volume. Becky Thomas leading the way, Bridget Ty, John Molitor, Sarah Oberbrunner, Kristen Stahulik rounding out the top 5. And here you can see individual volume year-to-date for the top 15. Now, moving on to teams, October team volume, JSG leading the way at 22, Falk Grove and Gallagher at 11, Root River Realty 4.8, Stale and Gallagher Lake Country rounding out the top 5. Then you got Miller Marriott, Pluster, Duvall, Nancy Brennan, Fair Hinton, On Point, Moan, Desties, Sig Realty Group, Champaign, Fernwood, A Key Home, William Lauer, Bark River, Enlightened, rounding out the top 15 team volume in the month of October. Here you go, year-to-date units. JSG, Falk Grove, and Root River leading the way in the top 3, and you can see the top 15 through year-to-date October. And then finally finishing out is year-to-date team volume so far in 2023. Incredible group of people that we all surround ourselves with. So if you see a peer and you're sitting next to him, go give him a big hug and congratulate him on a great year, whether an individual or a team. Sound good? All right. With that, though, a lot of people have had a lot of success. In the month of October, we paid out $4.8 million in gross commission incomes. The coolest part about that, it was a 12% increase versus last year in an environment that was down. Huge testament to what it is that you guys do and how you deliver it. Year to date, $45 million in gross commission incomes paid out. That's down 13%, but it's outperforming the market by 58% as market commissions are down 33%. Huge shout out to you guys in what you're doing. And I think sometimes the group takes advantage of those that you're sitting next to in the performance and the productivity of your peers and leaning and learning from each other. I highly encourage you to lean and learn on each other. Now, with that, then, there's also this little thing called profit share. And on November 21st, which is next week, Tuesday, I believe, 7 days from now, we're going to pay out almost $62,000 in profit share. That's a 26% increase this year versus last year. Year to date, we'll have paid out $777,000, which is a 10% increase this year versus last year. So pay attention to your bank statements on November 21st, next week, Tuesday, to see if you earned a piece of the $62,000 pie. Sound good? Beautiful. With that, I'm flipping it over to Vranik, who's got a little update for you as it relates to tech. Vranik?
Good morning. All right, now my video's on. All right, so I've got some marketing updates. I've got a tech update, so a little bit of everything today. So the first thing that I wanted to go through is just, we have all 2023 holiday social media posts done and ready to schedule. So this is just a really good time of year to schedule out all of your social media posts for the rest of the year. Schedule out your emails if you want to send those holiday emails. Those are done, they're ready, they're in the Smart Plan library. If you scan that QR code that you see on the screen, it'll take you directly into the Google Drive folder that we keep all of these social media posts, these images. And so you'll also find it always linked on our website, kwrealtymke.com, in our agent hub under the tech and marketing resources, that marketing assets button. That will always be updated with these grab and go materials. So we've got all of these done, ready to go. Like I said, there's social media posts. So there's just images, they're images files that you can grab and download to your computer and post those on all of your social media accounts. And then the Smart Plan library in Command has also been updated, which with each of these individual emails, these email campaigns are ready to go. And so, like always, if you go into the Smart Plan library in Command and you search KW Milwaukee, you're going to find everything in there. You can also search by author name. So if you type in my name, you'll find every single one of these. So we've got Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, the first day of winter, Christmas, New Year's. And then we also have a couple new 12 direct campaigns. So winterizing your home and Christmas tree farms. So believe it or not, a lot of these local Christmas tree farms open up this weekend. So if you're looking for some content that you can reach out to your database, these are some really great ideas. And again, you guys, so these are the emails, just a couple of examples. Everything's ready to send out. Like everything in Command, you can make edits and kind of tweak it to your own style. But these are grab and go, hit send, schedule these out, and you're good to go. And like I said, we also have those 12 direct campaigns. So winterize your home and Christmas tree farms. Those are 2 new ones that you can send out. So if you are reaching out to your neighborhood or your farm, those are ones that are available now, also in that Google Drive folder with all of those assets, and also available as a Smart Plan. So those are just some examples that you can see there. And then in addition, very exciting Command upgrade. So we talk a lot about fall cleanup. We've done trainings on how you can clean up your database, but it just got easier. And so this is an upgrade that I think a lot of us have been asking for a number of years. So I'm really excited to say that you can now merge duplicate contacts in your database in Command. So this is now an option when you are, selecting the duplicate contacts. You have an option to select a bulk action, and you'll see merge in there now. And so the system is going to walk you through how you can merge those contacts. And next screen, Charlie, I'm going to take you through a couple things here. But basically, when you select those 2 contacts in the contacts applet, you're going to choose the contact that you want to keep, and the system is going to merge that information to the other contact as the primary contact then. So there's a few reasons why you wouldn't be able to choose a contact as a primary. So if a contact is active on a Smart Plan associated with an opportunity, or if a contact is registered already with your KW app or your agent site, that contact would not be able to merge into another contact. So just keep those things in mind, and the system does a really good job of notifying you of that and really explaining why you wouldn't be able to merge a contact. So just keep that in mind. But if you're importing a list of contacts and you've already got a contact in there, it's just a nice, easy way to clean up your database, get it ready for 2024. If you're reworking your 36 touch program, it's a great opportunity to utilize this feature right now, as your, maybe business is slowing down, and maybe you are just reaching out to your database and wishing them, happy holidays, and inviting them to a pie pickup or whatever it is. It's an opportunity to not only reach out to your database, clean up your database. So really great feature upgrade in Command. Super excited about it. If anyone has questions on this new feature, please reach out to me. But otherwise, it should be really self-explanatory, very simple, and straightforward.
Fall cleanup. That is the season we are in. Fall cleanup. Fall cleanup. Fall cleanup. Here we go. Lieutenant Steph, we have compliance updates for these guys around some real life procuring cause issues that we went to bat for. Help these guys understand what it is that they need to know as it relates to procuring cause.
Hi, guys. Just wanted to, again, go through some reminders as it relates to procuring cause. It doesn't happen too often. During my time as compliance broker and on the compliance team, it's happened exactly 3 times. So it does not come up too often, but we have some real life lessons from our most recent case with it. But first, I just wanted to remind you guys, procuring cause. So again, this would be a claim by one firm against another firm about who was owed a commission, depending on if they feel they brought the buyer to that particular property or not. So we just wanted to reiterate that these potential procuring cause claims are not black and white. So, you know, if an agent calls me or Joan and asks, you know, I believe I've got procuring cause on this, this is the circumstances, like we cannot, you know, definitively say one way or the other if you do, you know. So just want to make sure that that's clear. And then if it does get to an arbitration hearing, determinations are based on a multiple set of circumstances, not based on one set. So they're looking at a specific moment in time, and it is a process. So again, we just want to make sure that it's clear that it's not a black and white issue, and arbitration hearings can go one way or the other as it relates to procuring cause. So one common myth, oh, can we go back, Charlie? I did want to point this out too, that there's a general consensus out there that if you have buyer agency with a buyer, that you are automatically procuring cause, and that is not the case. So I wanted to remind everyone of that as well. And nor does being an open house agent either. So if you are the one hosting an open house and somebody comes through, that doesn't automatically make you procuring cause if they're not attached or if they're not in buyer agency with another firm. So, the 2 lessons, though, that came from our most recent case, I just want to make sure that it's clear and reminding everybody, a lot of us are practicing and trying to get and coordinate single party listings. Make sure that when you are coordinating these single party listings, that there are conversations of compensation, because these listings are not an MLS, and that is what offers our promise of compensation if a listing is an MLS. If it's not an MLS, we don't have that promise. So whether it's via email, make sure as buyer's agents, you're asking the potential listing agent, what would you compensate us? Would it be 2.4%? Would it be 2%, etc.? Just make sure you're getting that in an email or a text. If something is solidified and an offer comes together, making sure that we use the WRA compensation agreement, which is found in our zip forms, and we'll absolutely show you guys where that is, but it is in the zip forms library. And then the last reminder, our duty to ask new clients if they are in a contractual relationship with another broker. So if we meet a new potential seller client or a new potential buyer client, we do have a duty to ask them if they are presently in a contractual relationship with another broker before we sign an agreement. So that's what we got. But I will say this last case we won and it was amazing. So I just need to celebrate that. That's all I got. Oh no, I got one more.
Yeah, I just want to say one other thing as it relates to procuring cause. I'll be honest with you, it's a total crapshoot. Okay. It's a very subjective measure based on your peers. And what you have to understand is you first go to mediation, and mediation tries to mediate the issue in order to find common ground. And in this scenario, the one that we're referencing, the mediation panel recommended basically a 90-10, 90 to the other agent. Our agent was recommended to take 10%. And the panel said, this is probably as good as you're going to get. And to the agent's credit, they dug their heels in and said, you know what? That's almost nothing. I'll take the gamble. Let's go to arbitration. And for those of you that don't know what that means, arbitration is 100% and 0. Okay. They went to arbitration with a different panel. Facts of the case came forward. our agent got 100% of the commission. The other agent got 0% of the commission. And the mediation panel was almost the inverse of that. So my point to the story is it's never an exact science to say if we do this, this, and this, we will win, or do that or the other. It's just, you have to know that these are very subjective cases, and bodies of your peers help determine the way in which the commission flows if you go to those situations. Cool? All right.
And I do have one more reminder. I was really excited to see this number. So there's only 161 left of us to pay our GMAR dues. I've got that list and I'll send out an email to everybody today, those 161, but thank you to everyone else who has paid already. Again, Michelle Cohn sent out a link on September 5th. So do an email search for that link if you have not paid already. But again, I will send another reminder to everybody today.
Sweet. Thanks, Steph.
Yep.
All right. Now, I need your help. If you're a listing agent and you have been tuned out for a little bit, pay attention here for 2 minutes. And if you're a listing agent, that should be 100% of you. Okay. So hear me on this. Trust funds is a resource available through us through the MLS. It's a tool. And last week, I had two kind of key themes within the presentation. Anybody remember what the first one was? Risk mitigation. We talked about it as it relates to the lawsuit. We talked about it in terms of getting a hotel room for the holiday party. Risk mitigation is a good strategy you should be implementing. Now, hear me out on this. As it stands today, roughly 50%, only 50% of our transactions utilize trust funds. And yet we have fiduciary responsibilities to our clients. Okay. And you have to consider the risk mitigation that trust funds offers you in this way. One, if you ask any title company, wire fraud is probably one of the highest things that they have their antennas up to, because it is real and it happens every day, and people are stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're intercepting emails. A very simple way to help you mitigate your client's risk: utilize trust fund. Two, USPS, what I would call to be snail mail. There are certain risks as it relates to sending checks in the mail via USPS. One, the speed of delivery. I'll give you a real life example to this that happened in October. There was a client who sent earnest money on October 13th. We as an office did not receive it until October 30th. Okay? That is a significant amount of time. And then here's what happens. Once we deposit a check, we actually have to hold the check for 7 days to make sure that it clears the banks. And if the deal cammers within those 7 days, we cannot release the earnest money until we know the check has cleared the bank. So in this scenario, the client could be waiting for money up to almost 4 weeks because they sent it in the mail. Second, real life scenario that happens more often than I would care to admit. People are intercepting the mail. And they look at the mail and they notice a check is in there. And then what they're doing is they're taking routing information and accounting information, because people are sending checks in the mail. Utilize trust funds in order to mitigate your risk. Snail mail risk. Snail mail has real risks in terms of speed of delivery and intercepting. The other piece of it, where clients get really, really excited with us, is the way in which that we could expedite returns is directly through trust funds. As soon as we know a deal cammers, we can release funds immediately via trust funds. So one of the things I would encourage you to consider is utilization of the trust funds for earnest money deposit. Okay. Buyer's agents initiate the deposit. The listing company holds the earnest money. What you do within the MLS is you go over to the more section, you go down to trust funds, you click here as to who the listing broker is, and you send the money. And it helps expedite and mitigate risk. Make sense? Here's what I'd ask. Let's see if we can get above 75% in 2024. You will have a significant decrease in risk by utilizing trust funds. Cool? Beautiful. All right. Moving on, upcoming trainings and events, and then I'll finish it off with some insights for you and what you need to be paying attention to. November training calendar, handful of things I want to call out. One, we're halfway through Bold, okay? This week's Bold, for those of you that are in it, are in the Peck Pavilion, in the middle of the zoo. Tomorrow is also going to be 65 degrees. And if afterwards you want to take a stroll through the zoo with your peers, be our guest, be our guest, be our guest. Da, 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 da. All right. After that, couple things to note next week. We are going to be closing the offices at noon on Wednesday in order for the leadership teams to be able to get a head start on their holiday planning with their families and give them back a little bit of time. So just please plan accordingly. You still have access to the offices, but they will be closed at noon. Okay. A couple other things to point out. November 16th, which is this week, Thursday from noon to 1, there's Focus Title Lunch and Learn in the North Shore office. Want to learn a little bit more about title? Who owns, who signs, who knows, deeper dive into title insurance, come into the North Shore office on Thursday from 12 to 1. Next up, smart plans, want to go a little deeper. Also, this is via Zoom on Thursday from 11 to 12. And then the budget mastermind from 1 to 2. Fall cleanup is this week, Friday, via Zoom from 1 to 2 p.m. A few things to point out this week. Sound good? Now, I'm going to challenge you as it relates to your macro. Oh, one other thing, because I got a lot of shit for this over the weekend. I had a birthday on Sunday, and I think my headshot's like 8 years old. And I was getting a lot of flack, even from Megan, to say, you look like you're 18 in that photo. You need to update your headshot. And if there are other of you who also need an updated headshot, there's updated headshots available next week, Tuesday from 10 to 12 in the North Shore office. Okay, Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. Highly recommend. A lot of people have been asking, like, what should they be listening to? Great actionable insights within this podcast. I'd give it a listen. Next up, I've alluded to this on several occasions, okay? We're announcing the December 7th year-end event from a training and education standpoint, okay? It's from 9 to 12 on December 7th at the Milwaukee County War Memorial. My buddy Tommy Choi will be coming up from Chicago to help you understand how they've built a $500 million+ business in downtown Chicago. Average price point over $1 million. Incredible. In 95% plus of their business comes from repeat and referral. He's going to be talking about all around how you build your brand, build your voice, and how your voice articulates your value. Then we're going to roll into a conversation between Andy Hunt and I. Andy is the Marquette University School of Real Estate Dean. He's going to come in and talk a little bit around forecasting and what we should be paying attention to as it relates to the industry heading into 2024. So Andy and I will be having a conversation. And then finally, we'll be wrapping up a morning with Stephanie Minnick, who is a KW MAPS coach, and she'll be walking us through MREA Business Planning Clinic from 9 to noon on December 7th. Incredibly excited about the panel that we have and how we're going to help you navigate moving the market forward in 2024. Sound good? You can register today. We'll make sure we'll get you the links in order to set it up. Sweet. With that, family reunion is also coming up in February. Based on where the state of the industry is, I'd highly recommend you consider attending. Just yesterday, they announced the second keynote speaker, which will be Tony Robbins. So day one, we have Tony Robbins coming to speak all around how we're going to help navigate the market of the moment and what's going on. You have Mel Robbins. If you haven't plugged into Mel, I'd highly encourage it. If there was ever a time to consider going to family reunion, this would be the one. Why? Vegas is relatively pretty cheap to get to, and Vegas is relatively pretty cheap to stay at. And there's an incredible lineup of people and speakers that you should be plugging into. Highly recommend family reunion in 2024. Cool? All right, here we go. I'm going to go a little bit.
One quick thing on family reunion. Today's the last day for early bird pricing. So if you are signing up, it's the last day to save a couple $100.
Beautiful. Thank you for that reminder. All right, here we go. I'm wrapping it up. Okay. And I'm going to give you a bit more of a concept as to why I'm seeing stabilization. And I'm going to put some wind in your sails based on a conversation of a presentation that I saw last week. And here you go. This is new information. My theme to you last week was, is the market stabilizing? And I had this concept in theory based on the data I was looking at in southeastern Wisconsin. And I said, is the market stabilizing? Have we hit the bottom as to where the market is in terms of transactional units? And so I went and did a little bit more research and dug into it a bit more. And as you can see here, as I've shared many times before, going back to March of this year, going through October of this year, I looked at 3 key metrics. And I want you to pay attention to the lead metrics first. So start bottom and go to the top. The lead metrics I'm looking at is contracts written units. So how many contracts are people writing on the buyer's side? And then I'm taking a look at listings taken units as it relates to how much inventory is coming to the market. And you can see those lead listings or those lead metrics then correlate to how the lag metrics show up, which is closed units. And if you go back March of this year, all the way through to October of this year, you can see a consistent theme and trend. When the lead metrics were down 27 to 28%, guess what happened to the lag metrics in the following months? They were down 30%. The lead metrics were down 31 and 28 respectively in April. The lag metrics in May were down 24%, so on and so forth. Now, here's where I'm starting to see the trend, because we're 3 months into the trend. And I said to you last week, and I'll continue to say it again, 1 month is an anomaly, 2 months is a trend, 3 months is real. Okay. August, we were down 4% on listings taken. Contracts written August this year versus last year was down 13. September was down 22. Now, that may sound crazy, but when you consider where we were in March, April, and May, that's actually a trend improvement. Now, if you look at the lead metrics as it relates to listings taken units in September, down 4.5, and the contracts written units were down 11, and you compare that to where we were in the spring, you can see where that correlated to closed units in October, down 5. Now let's take a look at the lead metrics as it relates to October this year. Listings taken units were down 3.8%. That's 3 months in a row of trend improvement. Okay. Now, if you look at contracts written units on the buyer side, it was down to 4.4%. Buyers are starting to settle in as it relates to the environment they have to work within in terms of the cost of capital. My prediction would then be November, we should see a very similarly, I would predict a down single-digit number as it relates to the lag metrics based on the latest 3 months of trends of the lead metrics. Okay. Hence my theme of stabilization. Now, I'm going to put a little bit of wind in your sails. Last week, I flew to San Antonio for 1 day on Thursday. Was down and back, literally in 1 day. And I had the opportunity to hear a presentation for Dr. Lawrence Yun, who's the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. And within his presentation, which I'll roll out in a few weeks, as it relates to his forecast for 2024, there was something very interesting that he brought forward that I hadn't really thought about. And it relates to this. Sorry. Are we about to experience pent-up sellers who cannot wait any longer? And he talked about the rate environment in which right now most potential, those homeowners who own a home, a vast majority of them have a rate below 4%. And so for the last 2 years, a lot of people have been like, well, I'm not selling, I'm not selling, I'm not selling. Well, consider the next 2 years. Okay, the next 2 years from a rate environment, I don't see it improving to the point where you're going to see a 5 anytime soon. A 6 is real. Okay, and over the next 2 years, there are certain life events that will happen that we need to be paying attention to as it relates to your relationship with your database. Okay, and where and which inventory may come from. There will be 7 million newborn babies. Okay, and there is a statistic that shows, and I am a part of the statistic class, that when a family has a baby within plus or minus 12 months, 80% of the time, there is a home, there's a move. Okay, and it's highly correlative to after someone within plus or minus 12 months of them having their second child. There is an 80% indicator that they will move. Okay, there will be 3 million marriages. And if you think about it, that is 2 people coming together to create one household, 3 million of them. Okay, that will create an opportunity. There will be 1.5 million divorces. That is one household that will have to become into 2. There's opportunity. 7 million people will be turning 65 years old. There will be real opportunity as it relates to what inventory means and where it comes from. Unfortunately, there will be 4 million deaths. And there's predicting to be 4 million net new jobs. So 4 million people will have a new job, and there will be 50 million job switches, all of which create scenarios in which creates opportunity and the potential for increased inventory. So something to think about as you're in this period here in the fourth quarter and you're thinking about 2024 as to where it is that you will find your business. I would challenge you as it relates to your relationship with your database and the relationship you have with your people. And are you a relationally based person or are you a transactionally based person? And then look at where opportunity may lie based on where people are within their lives. Okay. and build those relationships now, because those relationships take time to foster in order for you to earn the trust of them, trusting you with their largest financial asset. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you as a way in which to say, look, two things are happening. One, our market's stabilizing. I know it. The data tells us that. Two, there is real opportunity that will be forthcoming in the next 12 months. It's not all doom and gloom. Make sense? So last week, I shared with you a bunch of information as it relates to where we saw October. I'm not going to go through it, but I am going to tell you, I'm going to make a little bit of a plug for kwrealtymke.com, because you can always get the team meeting slides as it relates to all the data I present on there. If there's anything you need, feel free to download it and plug it. And this week's information will also be included in this week's download. Now, here's where I will finish you off with, okay, is the concept of good. And here's where I would challenge your mindset with. When something doesn't go right, what is your response? And what I mean by that is, if you just look at what we've all dealt with in the last 12 months, markets that are down 20%, rates that are rising to 8.5%, life events that have happened, things that are in your control, not in your control. And quite frankly, the thing that I've been dealing with most in the last 3 weeks, what happens with our industry with all these class action lawsuits that are popping up everywhere? And a lot of it is out of our control. Okay. And last year around this time, I shared with you one of my all-time favorite books with one of my all-time favorite people, with Jocko. Okay. And incredible, incredible person, incredible mindset. And someone shared with me this video. This is forever ago. And every time something happens in which we stumble, I always say the phrase in the back of my head: good. What's going on with the lawsuit? Are you worried? Good. Hey, what's going on with the market? It's down 20%. Are you worried? Good. What's going on with rates? They're at 8.5%, climbing to 9%. What's going on? Good. And I want to share with you the video that was sent with me a couple years ago, because I thought it was very apropos with where we are as an industry and where it is that we're headed. So look at this.